Call the meeting of the Board of Trustees for January 22nd, 2013 to order. We had an executive session, and in closed session, the board gave approval to its legal counsel, Atkinson, Adelson, Lawyer, Root, and Romo, to initiate legal action. The action, defendants, and other particulars shall, once formally commenced, be disclosed to any person upon inquiry, unless to do so would jeopardize the district's ability to effectuate the service of process on one or more unserved parties, or would jeopardize the district's ability to conclude existing settlement negotiations to its advantage. So I have to report that out from our closed session meeting. Okay, if we can please move forward to the Pledge of Allegiance. And I saw a special guest today, Mike Murchison. Could you please lead us in the flag salute?
He went outside.
Oh, did he go outside?
Where'd he go?
Okay, then I shall lead the Pledge of Allegiance. As we do so, let's remember what a wonderful country we have. We have the smooth transition of power that we had yesterday with the inauguration of President Obama. And let's also keep in mind that as we pledge to our country, that we have men and women around the world facing dangers to preserve our freedoms. So, hand over your heart, ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Secretary, please roll call.
President Uranga.
Here.
Vice President Kellogg.
Here.
Member Bowen.
Here.
Member Clark. Student Trustee Troya.
Present.
Okay, President Superintendent Oakley, do we have any welcomes and introductions?
We don't, although I would like to keep in our tradition of announcing retirements. We do have two retirements that are coming up. Although they were invited, I understand they could not be here this evening, so I did want to mention both of them. First of all, Michael D. Owens. He's been a certified athletic trainer serving Long Beach City College from 1981 through present. I want to wish him a very happy retirement. He's provided our student athletes with 31 years of service, so please join me in congratulating Michael D. Owens on his retirement. Also, Donald Marcy, Performing Arts Production Technician. Donald served us since November 1990, over 22 years of service, working as a performing arts production technician, stage technician. So I want to thank him for his service to our students and wish both Don and Michael a great retirement.
Okay, thank you very much. Approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. I didn't hear this side.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? None? And Doug, by the way, is excused for this evening. Trustee Otto. Motion passes. Ordering the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to pull any items from the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we wish to move forward with the agenda as proposed. Item 1.1, AFT and District Initial Bargaining Proposals. California statute and regulations prescribe that the initial proposal of employee organizations be received during a meeting of the Board of Trustees. At this time, the public shall have an opportunity to express itself regarding the bargaining proposals as described in items 5.3 and 5.4. This is the time set aside for the public to express its views on the AFT and District Initial Bargaining Proposals. Is there anyone wishing to make any comments regarding the proposals? Step forward, please.
Hi, I'm Karen Roberts. I'm president of the Part-Time Faculty Association. And you probably noticed that we have submitted an initial bargaining proposal to the district. And I wanted to comment on it because you probably also noticed that it is somewhat detailed. We are a little bit puzzled and concerned as to why our initial bargaining proposal had to be so detailed. And our concern is that we want to convey to you our intention to negotiate in a very collaborative spirit. And it's important to us that you do understand that even though it's detailed, it is a generalized overview of the issues to be brought to the table, and it in no way does it represent our final intent. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, having had that response, I now declare this public hearing closed. Moving on to agenda item 1.2, committee reports. Do I hear any committee reports? Okay, hearing none, we move on to student trustee Troya.
As this program discontinuance process winds to completion, I am struck and will always remember the chorus of strong voices that I've heard from our LBCC family. Yet here we find ourselves again at the precipice of further draconian cuts. I'm reminded of the sea of broken promises that we've endured under our current leadership. One such promise was made by President Superintendent Oakley and echoed by Trustee Kellogg. I'm paraphrasing from memory alone. It was something to the effect of students would be involved in this process. It was a pact of transparency. Unfortunately, when it came time to hear the recommendations of the academic council, the doors were closed, yet another recurring theme. Even with the rewrite of the 2000 series of our bylaws, we expanded the circumstances under which closed sessions are permitted, from as allowed under the law to a plethora of new situations that weren't covered by the simplicity of our previous version. While totally acceptable to do so under the Brown Act, this has been a practice that I've been a vocal critic of since I took office. I'd much rather see free and open dialogue, and that sentiment was, at least in part, echoed by some of my fellow trustees at our July meeting. Where was the promised transparency? It seems that our Board of Trustees is so fearful of public controversy that our default position is one of secrecy. I've since learned that the recommendations made by the Academic Council were at least in part ignored, yet how will we ever know? Our democratic process only works when all reasonable interests collaborate and reach the decisions after a vigorous debate and in a public forum. The students in each of the programs being eliminated are valuable to us all. They are our classmates, a member of our ASB cabinet. They help to fill the gaps in our offices that were created by our move to cut 40% of our classified staff back in April. Even at least one Viking Award winner is enrolled in a program being discontinued. If that outstanding campus and community leader is expendable, we are all in danger of having our academic and professional goals derailed. For those who don't know, the Viking Award is the highest honor that we bestow upon any of our students. If this is your idea of a well-reasoned cut, my assessment of your ability to lead has fallen. Surely you can see how this proposition irks me when it affects some of our most distinguished students. These cuts will have dramatic ramifications upon small businesses in the area, upon the ability for many to find significant gainful employment. In fact, my colleague and I met with small business owners, and they already had to let go of or cut the pay of students that they employed as a result of cuts that were made back on December 15th. A matter that I never saw come before the board or the public. We have invited several of the business owners to come and share their experiences at our first February meeting during public comments. You'll be hearing a lot of a lot more about that in the weeks to come. This action will deal a convincing blow to our local economy and force employers to find workers elsewhere. Well, as the 6th most impoverished city in the country, LBCC provides one of the only possibilities of upward mobility available to many of our students. This move will change the demographics of our college in the most diverse city in the country. We can't micromanage the educational goals of this community any more than we can quickly increase transfer rates. It leads me to believe that each of you doesn't know the community you were elected to serve. When the ASB improperly agreed to fund the Measure E campaign, President Oakley used the phrase, "You will leave behind a legacy," as a selling point. What is the legacy that $250,000 of student money brought us? Empty buildings? Perhaps a privatization of PCC? Broken dreams and aspirations? Take your pick. I'm going to make the bold statement that these cuts are both unnecessary and poor public policy. I don't believe that our crisis is fiscal in nature. As someone recently pointed out to me, LBCC's problems are political dysfunction, plain and simple. Fortunately, we have recourse built into our Constitution that protects us from governmental failures. The only plausible solution for a political problem is a political solution. To illustrate what other administrations within District 8 are doing with the budgetary uncertainties that we're facing, Cerritos College maintains a 5% reserve strictly, and for their shortfall this academic year, they're spending down their reserves by $2 million. Citrus College has 14.5% reserves. They are the only college in this area that has a higher reserve than we do. And they are spending down their reserves by $4.2 million. Cypress projected a worst-case scenario of $5.2 million deficit for the year, yet they are holding off on making budgetary decisions until July 1st. Fullerton projected a possible shortfall of $10 million if Prop 30 failed, but are likewise waiting to see the impact of Prop 30's passage after July 1st to make any decisions. This strategy is a commonality among every college I researched. Why is LBCC breaking from the pack, discontinuing programs, and making drastic cuts? This is a call to action directed at each of our students. Someone a whole lot wiser than I once told me that the people rarely recognize their true power to affect change. That statement resonates with me today and is applicable to the issues LBCC is facing. The days of students passively sitting and not taking part in our democratic process needs to end, especially when we're dealing with such serious issues. Stand with me, unite, protest, make noise, make your voice be heard, and together we can reclaim Long Beach City College.
Okay, I'm gonna go off script a little bit here because you said a lot of disturbing things that I think are unjust, unfair, and misinformed. First of all, when you're talking about the process of students being involved in the discontinuance process, they have been involved. We opened up the process to students to come and testify before this board to talk about their programs, the effects that it would have on them, and what it meant to them if these programs were discontinued. That has been an open, transparent process. That they were not, that they had an opportunity to talk with the academic senate, with the president, superintendent of the college. They certainly had that freedom to do so, and they did not. Or if they did, I don't know what happened. But there has been transparency all throughout this process. You have not come to me at all. Not once. Have you called me? Have you emailed me or called or talked to me about this whole process at all? You haven't gotten my views. You've never discussed it with me to share what your thoughts were on this. And I've never had an opportunity to discuss it with you. and neither has the superintendent president. I don't think any of our trustees has had that opportunity to talk to you about that. You have not reached out. We have, in the long term, reached out to the students, and we have been listening to you. We have volumes of testimony that we've heard over the last few months about the discontinuance program and what it means to you. Yet, I'm hearing this today. Very disappointed. And here we are at this point. We're going to talk public comments, and we're going to hear some more. If you are here to talk about the discontinuance program, we will be, that program, that agenda item is for tomorrow, at tomorrow's meeting, because we wanted to provide a full attention to just that one item, because we know it's going to be a long and maybe contentious, I hope not, but at least an informative meeting where you will receive everything you need to know about this whole process and where we are with it at this point. You'll get it from point 1 to point 100, whatever items it is that you need to learn, to ask, you will receive that tomorrow. So if you're going to be talking about discontinuance this evening, you'll be provided that opportunity. However, if you want to speak again about it tomorrow, we're just going to accept it for tonight. You're not going to have 2 bites at the same apple, okay? So just keep that in mind when I call you up. If you want to talk tonight, fine. I would recommend that you speak tomorrow when that specific item is on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could just add, usually our meetings finish about 7 o'clock. We had one meeting, we were here till 9:30, basically listening to all of you who had your views and your opinions. So I don't think how anyone could sit there and say that we didn't listen to you, because we did, meeting after meeting. We're here till 9:30 instead of leaving it around 7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this point, we are in the public comments and agenda items. At their request, members of the public may comment on items listed on the agenda at the time the item is discussed and prior to board action on the item. A 5-minute time limit will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject unless extended by the board president. At this point, I'm going to defer the time limits to our Madam Secretary, who will be our timekeeper, and she will be the one to monitor the speakers. I fully encourage you that if there is more to one speaker for one item, that you work it out so that you could reach the time limit. And she will be the one in control of the public comments. I have here on agenda item 5.1, faculty sabbaticals, Colleen Sterrett.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Am I good? I'm Colleen Sterrett, Professor of Art, and currently the Chair of the Sabbatical Leave Committee. Our committee members include Jose Ramon Nunez, who's the Dean of Language Arts, Mary Perot, Professor of Physical Science, Lydia Turner, Counselor in Financial Aid, and Laura Wan, the Dean of Business and Social Science. This past November, our committee completed its review of 10 sabbatical proposals submitted for the 2013-14 academic year. 2 of these original proposals were withdrawn when the applicants understood that their proposals did not meet the high standards and quality that we seek. Thus, the committee recommended 8 proposals of extraordinary quality to the superintendent president for approval. The proposals were submitted by faculty from a variety of programs, including philosophy, art, political science, counseling, history, English, and sociology. At this time of great crisis and change here at our college, the idea of granting a sabbatical leave might first appear to be inappropriate, but as faculty sabbaticals are an investment in the long-term success of the college, they're not only appropriate, but extremely important and necessary. The granting of sabbatical leaves is a sure way to retain and recruit quality faculty, as well as providing a model of professional behavior to our students. sabbatical leaves benefit all of us in terms of institutional regeneration, the overall quality of instruction, and an aid in maintaining academic relevance in a constantly changing world. Therefore, I highly commend President Oakley for his leadership in making this considered decision in supporting the recommendation of the committee to approve all 8 sabbaticals. Covering a range of disciplines, these 8 proposals provide evidence of the vital, outstanding work produced by the faculty, that you, the President, and Board recognize this can only have a positive impact on faculty morale, especially at this particular time. We truly appreciate this vote of support. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Shaw, also speaking about sabbaticals.
Hello, I'm Lynn Shaw, the president of the Full-Time Faculty Union. I wanted to speak about sabbaticals because I'm very grateful that the board and the president decided to follow the committee process and put forward for recommendation all 8 sabbaticals put forward by the committee. It's a really important professional development activity for our college and for, most importantly, our students to have the most cutting-edge information and projects trickle down to the classroom. So I just wanted to come up here and thank you for the sabbaticals.
Thank you, Lynn. Okay, we now are at the consent agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, item 5.3, receipt of LBCC AFT initial bargaining proposal to the district. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Item 5.4, receipt of district initial bargaining proposal by LBCCE and AFT. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 5.5, CHI LBCC initial bargaining proposal to the district. This is an informative item. I hope you had an opportunity to review that. Any discussion? Any questions on that item? Okay. 5.6 is the district initial bargaining proposal. This is also informative. Okay, item 8.1, revision of curriculum guide, associate in arts in geography for transfer. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Approval. Approve.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Dr. Juarez?
No, I didn't know if we needed anything.
No?
Not really. I mean, this is the same thing we've been doing, and they're just doing a good job of doing it.
All right, we'll go now to item 9.1, Superintendent President's Report.
We take the vote.
I'm sorry, we need a vote, yes. Okay, we had a motion and a second, and we've had a little bit of discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, now we go to item 9.1, Superintendent President's Report. Mr. Oakley.
Thank you, Board President Uranga, and I want to welcome everyone to today's board meeting. A couple of items of interest that I want to highlight, and then I'll get into a couple of comments. First of all, as always, I want to thank our full-time faculty president, part-time faculty union president, as well as our classified union president. I have been speaking with them over the last several months and continue to appreciate their willingness to work with the district to try and resolve these very difficult issues. So I once again want to take the opportunity to thank them for all their hard work. They are in very difficult positions, and I appreciate their leadership. The governor released his January budget recently. I know Vice President Gable sent a brief announcement and summary of the budget details to the college community. I want to thank the governor for trying to put together a budget that gets at the myriad of complex issues we're trying to deal with in the K-12 and higher education systems. I think of note, for those of you who did have an opportunity to read the LA Times on Monday, there was an article regarding the governor's proposal to transform California's community colleges. The reason I bring this up is because we're living at a time of great change. And it's sometimes important to take a step back and realize that the change that's taking place is not unique to Long Beach. We are dealing with changes that are taking place throughout the state and the country, and the governor's policy proposals highlight some of those changes. The governor was also at the CSU trustees meeting today, and if any of you followed that, I don't know why you would, but if you did follow the governor's statements at the CSU trustees meeting, that would also highlight the changes that he is proposing for higher education, not just for community colleges. And one of the most important changes that he is proposing is to increase the focus on making our higher education system more efficient, increasing the completion for our students who are trying to achieve an educational goal, and to focus resources as much as possible on achieving those goals. Those are things that Long Beach City College has been wrestling with for a number of years. And I'm grateful that the Board of Trustees has not waited to take action to pursue those outcomes for Long Beach City College, and it'll position this college in a much better position going forward, since the actions that we have been talking about for a number of years and are taking are in line with the direction that the state of California, and to a great extent the rest of the nation, has been pursuing. So because we're right in the middle of those changes, it's difficult to see how those changes will at some point be a positive thing for our region, our state, and the nation. And we will continue to work with the administration, with the legislature in California, and with the Obama administration, who has made the same push throughout the nation. We will continue to work with them to inform them of, in our opinion, the best way to achieve those outcomes. But nonetheless, that article in the LA Times highlighted the myriad of changes that are taking place. And it's our job, it's my job, to help guide the college through those changes in a way that positions us to serve our community for another 85 years. Many may disagree with the changes that we're making, but they are being made for a particular reason, in response to things that are happening outside of Long Beach. And that could be extended throughout the entire economy, whether you're dealing with a city, municipalities, counties. There are many, many changes taking place, and it is our job to try to position this college in a way that allows our students, our community, our faculty and staff to not only survive these changes, but eventually to turn the corner and to thrive in the environment that's being created. Having said that, we will continue to work with the governor, work with the budget bill that comes into, eventually makes its way through the legislature, to respond to those challenges that the governor has put before us, and try to inform them and try to inform his administration on the best way to navigate those challenges. That leads me to just a few brief comments about Trustee Troya's comments. I certainly appreciate the opportunity for all students to have the opportunity to learn about leadership, and certainly the student trustee's position has been a vital position for this district, certainly in my entire tenure since I've been here. I've had the pleasure of working with many, many student trustees and ASB presidents, ASB cabinets. These are all great learning opportunities. So I appreciate Trustee Troya's eagerness to participate in the dialogue. I've heard his comments throughout his tenure here, and I appreciate his willingness to speak. Now, having said that, I do have to comment on a few things he said. I have worked at this college for over 10 years and have worked with every single ASB president, every single ASB cabinet, every single student trustee. It pains me a bit to have remarks made about previous ASB cabinets and ASB presidents who worked with the district to get very important work done on two ballot measures. In 2002, this district passed a ballot measure, Measure E, and the voters agreed to fund this college over $176 million to build facilities. We went back to the voters in 2008 for $440 million. The students were a critical part of both of those ballot measures. The students who came through our college at that time and the ASB and student trustee leadership were intimately involved in all of those actions and in those two ballot measures, so much so that they volunteered their time, energy, and effort to work the phones for the election, to walk, to inform the public why it's important to Long Beach City College. Those students left a legacy. Now, one might disagree with the results of the bond program, but those students worked hard, tirelessly, and were engaged in this entire process. So I want to set the record straight that those students did everything they could to ensure that future generations of students had the best quality educational experience that they could possibly come up with. And I thank them every day for all of their efforts, and we will comply with their desires for the buildings and facilities that they were part of planning for, and we will carry out those plans. The funds that they committed to supporting the campaign, they came to willingly, and they came to transparently. So it really bothers me that someone would make any kind of statement that would suggest that previous student administrations here did anything irresponsibly or illegally. They did not. And it's insulting to any student leadership group to make any kind of comments like that. Those students did everything they could to support the building that we're sitting in here today. And I believe we have a plaque that's sitting out across the street in memory of all the work that they did. Finally, I do want to echo the comments that Board President Uranga made. I sit with every single student trustee, and I made it clear that if there is ever a time when you have any concerns about an action, any concerns about what's happening at the college, my door has been completely open. You have my cell phone number, and I can honestly say that not one time did the current student trustee come to me and express concerns about the program discontinuance process. So I'm also troubled by the comment that we were not transparent, because my door has certainly been wide open to any request of the student trustee and will always be so. I can understand concerns about the decision-making process. Those are things that I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for ensuring that everyone gets what it needs out of the process. The faculty who are involved in the process, the classified staff who are involved in the process, the community, the students, the administration, the media, and I believe that we have gone above and beyond all that's required of us to accommodate all of those constituent groups. People will still disagree with the decision. I understand that, and that is my responsibility to take. But I do feel that we've gone above and beyond what's required of us to open this process up. And as we all are aware, the process isn't over until the Board of Trustees acts tomorrow. So we will continue to listen to testimony today. The last thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank Professor Sterrett for her comments and for her work on the sabbatical committee. I do agree that the sabbatical committee did a wonderful job of reviewing the sabbaticals and made the recommendation to approve all 8 much easier to make. So I want to thank her and her entire committee. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Oakley. Item 11, Academic Affairs. No items, no report. Item 12, Student Support Services. No items, no report. Item number 13, or 12.11, Resolution Non-Resident Tuition Fees. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Pretty straightforward.
Yes, this is what we're required to do every year by February 1st, is to establish the non-resident tuition fee for the fall, or for the upcoming fiscal year. And so this resolution would become effective fall of 2013.
Any questions from my colleagues on the board? Okay, hearing none. Take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 12.12, General Obligation Bond Sale. This is an informative item. Any questions, any comments?
Right, this item is required after each bond sale that we bring to the board the financing summary. We recently, on November 27th of 2012, sold $237,003,695 in general obligation bonds. This is the second series of bonds that we have issued under our Measure E 2008. And so the information that is supporting the agenda item indicates the financing overview of the bonds.
Any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the Pacific Coast Campus. No items, no report. College Advancement and Economic Development. No items, no report. Academic Senate. Dr. Juarez.
I'm sending down a paper, so you'll have some reference to this. I want to talk about hiring of full-time faculty. And the reason I want to talk about this is because last November 30th, there was an action item in the Senate where the Senate asked the Senate President to speak with the administration to suspend hiring until decisions are finalized on program discontinuance and college reorganization. And I know I talked with President Oakley and Dr. Lowenstein about it, and I understand their concerns about not being able to get the cream of the people out there. However, there is a concern by the faculty in terms of if we are firing people, why are we hiring people? And it is a public perception problem. And then, once we get past that, there is right now already 5 positions listed on the website to be hired for full-time positions. And part of our administrative regulation says that we'll follow the process and criteria for determining new full-time faculty positions. And under that process and criteria, number 7 says that it will basically be vetted before the academic senate. And this hasn't happened. So I just want to express a concern of the faculty in terms of hiring at this time when we are letting people go. We have lots of great part-time instructors, realizing I'm using the same argument that you use the other direction. But right now, again, it is a public perception problem. So.
Duly noted. Thank you. Okay, trustee communications, trustees want to share any information? Trustee Kellogg?
Actually, President Oakley already touched on it. There was the article in the LA Times. If anyone did not get a chance to look at it, what I found most encouraging about that was, and it had to regard with the governor's budget, and in particular where Long Beach was quoted in that about being really at the forefront in many ways on how community college funding is beginning to change. And I thought it was just a very positive article, especially for Long Beach City College. And the budget thus far from the governor has been, it's been positive for community colleges. Hopefully it'll get through the state legislature as well without any major changes. But I thought the article was a very good reflection upon everyone here, and some very good quotes by the president, if you haven't seen it, talking about how all the different changes that are going on in community colleges in regard to different funding, from distance ed to green technology to distant ed funding, et cetera. So I just wanted to bring that up, and it was talked about already, but it was a very, very good article. And that is it.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, for that information. Any new business? I don't think I heard anything this evening about new business to be discussed at a future meeting, so we will move forward. Any future reports? I thought we had some future reports at our last meeting that we were going to look at. Madam Secretary, you might want to look at that.
Yeah, the next, I believe the reports you're referring to are regarding accreditation, and those will be coming up at the March meeting.
March meeting, okay. You might want to agendize that so we could keep track of that. Thank you. Okay, we are now at public comments on non-agenda items. At their request, members of the public will be given the opportunity to address the Board of Trustees on matters of general district business. This is the time for members of the public to speak, be heard, and share their comments with the Board, and for the Board to listen. Therefore, the public shall not expect the Board to commit or respond to public comments. A particular position should not be inferred if there are no Board member comments during this time. A total of 5 minutes will be allotted to each subject unless extended by the Board President. After receiving testimony, the Board may recommend placing such items on the agenda of a future meeting or referring the item to staff for a report. Okay, I have a couple of items here. The first one that I have is program discontinuance, DMI, and I have a total of 4 speakers. So Madam Secretary, can we give 10 minutes to this item, since we have that many speakers? Between the 4 of them, 10 minutes. Okay. Yes, and I think I already mentioned earlier that this is an item we'll speak tonight. If you're going to speak tonight, we're going to be dealing with this issue tomorrow. So if you're going to speak tonight, this is your opportunity. You will not be able to speak tomorrow because you've already spoken to it. Okay? I have Joshua Dufour. Okay, might as well name the other ones. You could just go ahead and stand over here to the right if you will be speaking. Cindy Nelson, Mary Ann Brown, and Sohail Nader. I hope I pronounced that first name correctly. If not, pardon me.
I'd like to thank, I believe it was Jason, for what he said, because I felt, I haven't been involved in this whole process, but I felt that much of what he had to say reflects the opinions of students all over the country, and that a lot of things are happening right now that are tearing communities apart end by end, and cutting programs that are going to help people set careers halfway through the path of the actual program when they're going to have to start over, some of them for the second time. This is a big deal. And I felt that much of what he said, the real meat of it, wasn't even addressed. I think his character was attacked, and I think that other things were mentioned that I didn't even hear spoke of in what he had to say. I think he was completely discredited, as people from our generation in these situations often are when we bring real things to the table. So I don't know how transparent you have or haven't been, but I do know that much of everything else he said reflects our generation's beliefs. So thank you, Jason, and carry on.
Please state your name when you step up.
My name is Cindy Nelson. I'm a first-year DMI student. I plan to be in the DMI graduating class of 2014. Eloy, Lynn, and Board of Trustees, thank you for allowing us to speak this evening. We understand your struggle to work with the current budget and would like you to consider the following when considering the DMI program. There is an actual need for DMI students to become radiological technologists. The United States Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, shows that radiological technologists have a growth rate of 28%, while the average growth rate for careers is currently at 14%. That's double the average for the need. This in turn means there will be a need to fill 61,000 RT jobs between now and 2020. There are additional statistics to consider. The current first-year DMI student has had to attend school for at least 5 years to get to the place we're currently standing in right now. Within that time, we've had to endure a wait list of 3 years and had to spend a minimum of $10,000 towards our education. We're asking you to please save the DMI program and to allow the first-year students to complete their goal. Myself and each one of my classmates has made tremendous sacrifices to get to this point. I personally have worked 2 jobs while attending school up to 2012 and then quit my main job to attend the DMI program full-time when it went full-time. I had been at that job for 12 years and it came with benefits and retirement. I've changed everything about my life to dedicate to this goal. It's the reason I've gotten out of bed since 2007. Please save our DMI program. Our patients need us. We need our careers. Our instructors need their jobs. We've earned the right to finish. Please don't take this from us or our instructor. Thank you.
My name is Mary Ann Brown. I am a first-year student in the Diagnostic Medical Imaging Program, which is currently under consideration for elimination. At your last meeting on December 11, 2012, Tom Salerno, the CEO and president of St. Mary's Medical Center, personally thanked LBCC for the quality of students that this school has trained in the medical field who have either worked for them or are currently working for them. I personally know the quality of students that Long Beach Memorial Medical Center has hired from Long Beach. I work for Memorial. Those students, now employees, are my mentors. As a matter of fact, they're the ones that encouraged me to apply for the DMI program, specifically here at Long Beach City. I personally know the quality of students that St. Francis Medical Center has hired from Long Beach. I'm doing my clinicals at St. Francis. Those students, now employees, are training me to become an X-ray technologist. There's a pattern here. The Long Beach DMI program has been producing and providing Long Beach hospitals, surrounding hospitals, and other healthcare institutes with their graduates and manpower. Students enroll. We are taught by dedicated, passionate, knowledgeable instructors. We graduate. We are hired. We make a difference due to this program. The DMI program is vital to our community and must remain as part of this colleague's curriculum. Thank you.
My name is Sohail Nader, and I'm supposed to start the DMI program the following or upcoming year. And my concern is the program is cut. We have a long waiting list for the program for future students that would like to attend the program. And cutting the program would be a big fallback on the community, and with healthcare reform taking place within this next year, and the full reform taking effect in 2014, with the more need for people in the DMI field or other healthcare fields. And making cuts just wouldn't be correct as to a solution for the school's budget. Other ways of allocating funds current funds that are used for the school budget. For example, like what one of the gentlemen said, lead technology, investing in green technology, or privatizing some of the program where expensive equipment does not have to be purchased by the school, so cuts are not made, and privatizing like the cafeteria or certain areas in the school to bring in more.
Andrea Donado, program discontinuance. You weren't specific on which program, are you? Okay. I'll say that right at the end.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea Donado. Dear members of the board, after reading the recommendation for the program's discontinuance that President Oakley sent days ago, I felt not just sad but angry. I felt that my voice nor the student voice were taken in consideration. Many students from those programs came out to this room to express their feeling and thoughts. I came here too because even though I won't be directly affected by these cuts, I felt that as a leader on campus and member of the ASB cabinet, I have the responsibility to protect student interests. I have asked you to have some student representation at the meetings regarding the discontinuance of the programs. I did not hear an answer back. So I asked President Oakley during the PCC multicultural event, and his answer was that it won't be possible, which was curious since starting this process I heard that this was to be a process that involves students. Since as students, we couldn't be in these meetings, we still have some questions. Why do we have to cut when in the school webpage says that we have 14% on reserves and we just have to keep us 5%? The second question is, why Dr. Britton's position as vice president in PCC was eliminated before this process started? And my last question is, why before Prop 30 passes, we had to cut 2 million if it passed, and now that Prop 30 passed, we have to cut 6.4 million? Members of the board, students and community members of Long Beach City are sad and angry with this cut. I hope you can give us some answers. Thank you.
Okay, before I move on to the next speaker, I just want to emphasize that there will be a full discussion on this discontinuance tomorrow. I want to assure the students that are here, who might not be here tomorrow because they have classes or other commitments, that we are looking at being able to preserve as much as we can the programs that we're going to be talking about in discontinuance, that we are going to be addressing the needs of the students in regards to those who are already in programs, how they will be able to complete those programs. We are looking at several possibilities, including summer sessions. But all that will be discussed tomorrow, and options will be made. We want to assure you that the needs of the students will be addressed. You will all have some kind of resolution to your issues, to your programs. It is our intent as a board, and I speak on behalf of my colleagues here, that it is our intent and desire to see you finish. You started something, and we want to see you finish. Okay. And I want to assure you that we will make that happen, because it is our commitment to you. Thank you. Dr. Shaw, program discontinuance, hiring of faculty. No.
Oh, okay, thank you. I am concerned about the idea of emergency hires of 5 new faculty. And much like my dear colleague April, I think it's absurd and insane to think about hiring new faculty when we're laying off other faculty. Now, I have tried to trace the bumping, like who's going to get laid off and who might get bumped. And in one of the scenarios, one of the faculty that you're planning to hire in that department would be one of the bumped people. I mean, this is how absurd it has gotten. So I'm asking you, please, normally faculty really want new full-time faculty. And in general, yes, we do. But in this particular situation, I'm asking you to reconsider and hire no new faculty till the dust settles. Now, I know one of your concerns is that, like April said, we don't get the best candidates. Long Beach City College has a reputation. People want to come here. And if we hire English and math professors, we get literally hundreds of applicants. Surely we can find the right person or 2 people from those hundreds of applicants whenever we put the job open. So I also understand one of your concerns is that we don't have enough classes. We have too big of waiting lists. Yes, that's a concern of faculty. It's your concern. It's the students' concern. But hiring a full-time faculty is not the most cost-efficient way to meet that concern. The most cost-efficient way to meet that concern is to hire part-time faculty and open more sections of classes. So please, really seriously think about this. I mean, April also talked about the community perception. We all in this room probably understand it's different. We're laying off people in different departments, and you know, an English professor isn't the same as a carpentry professor. But for the public out there and for students to hire and lay off at the same time and discontinue programs, I think is a political mistake. And faculty don't like it. I'm just going to talk a little bit about program discontinuance because I'll be back tomorrow. It's a primary concern of faculty. We don't want any faculty laid off. We want to keep the faculty we have. But if you're interested, and I know this is what's been talked about, reshaping the college, the best way to reshape the college, I think, is to get our senior faculty to retire with a smile on their face. And the way to give them a smile on their face is offer some kind of retirement incentive. And this also is a cost-efficient way to do it because the faculty who are senior are at the high end of the pay scale, and the new people we eventually hire when the dust settles will not be at the high end of the pay scale. So if you want to reshape the college, this is my suggestion to you. And I'm very concerned about most of these programs on the discontinuance list being career and technical education. And I'm concerned it's disproportionately impacting the Pacific Coast campus. The Pacific Coast campus is in our community, a community that really needs the resources. So please reconsider about having 12 additional programs on the discontinuance list. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be having more discussion about this tomorrow, but we'll continue that. My final speaker is Mr. Marshall Topping. He will be talking about Topping events. Oh, now I see Mr. Murchison. You missed out giving the flag salute. I called you. Where were you, man? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Topping.
Good evening.
Chair Arenga, trustees, administrators, and staff. My name is Marshall Topping, and I'm here tonight to introduce myself, my business, and to say thank you for the great working relationship we have with LBCC going back over 30 years. We've been putting on vintage car shows, bike shows, and swap meets at Long Beach Veterans Stadium for 30 years and have been very successful in doing so. This partnership that we have with Long Beach City College has allowed our events to grow into premier and marquee events within our industry, both nationally and internationally. We've been featured on television shows such as Monsters Garage, Speed Vision, and NHRA Today, many television shows, also international television shows in Japan, Europe, and down under. We are committed to promoting organized and safe events. We want you to know that we work closely with Campus Police and Julie Pryor, as well as Long Beach Police Department. And in the 30 years that we've been at Veterans Stadium, we've never had a serious incident. Further, since our time at Veterans Stadium, we've never had a liability claim against us or Long Beach City College. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the good people that we work with at the school and with all of you, including Tim Wooten, Daniel Toe, Anne-Marie Gable, and Eloy Oakley, and all the staff that we work with on a regular basis. We're here every month, and we deal with staff day in and day out in the operation of our business. Everybody is the utmost in professionalism. It's a great event venue to work with. I've worked at event venues throughout Southern California through our business, professional event venues, and I can say that Long Beach City College is as good as any of them, and they're not in the event business. Topping Events has a positive financial impact on Long Beach City College. In 2012, we paid direct rents and fees in excess of $425,000 a year. In the 10-year span from 2001 to 2011, we paid in direct rents and fees over $3.25 million to the school. All of this is for use of student parking lots that are otherwise empty on Sundays, and there's, in our view, very little opportunity cost for the school. This creates a win-win situation for us, for the school, for the students, and for the community. Also, I'm also here just to put a name, to put a face to the name, because some of you have seen our name come across contracts. You've voted on all of our contracts, and I haven't been down here as much as I have to say hi, to say thank you, to let you know who I am, to let you see me in person, and to offer to speak to anybody, anytime, anybody, if anyone has a question, a concern, anything regarding any of our events, our business, or our relationship with Long Beach City College. We're here, we're accessible, you can reach us anytime. Tim Wooten, Daniel Toe have our direct contact information, and we're happy to talk about anything, anytime. We really value our relationship with Long Beach City College. We think it's a very important part of what's made our businesses successful, made our events successful over the long term. And as everybody knows, small businesses going on 30 plus years is a good thing. It couldn't be done without you, and it couldn't be done without our customers. So again, I just want to say thank you for the professional partnership we've developed and the fine working relationship and the way we view it as a partnership between Long Beach City College and Topping Event. Like I said, I'm here anytime. I have some business cards. I have some small leaflet advertisements about our business that have pictures of the event and some information. If anybody would like one, I'm more than happy to hand them out. And otherwise, I'm just here to say thank you and have a nice year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Topping, and we are certainly appreciative of your being able to stick with us all these years as well. Thank you very much. Okay, before I adjourn, I have one more comment to make. I want to thank Jeff Kellogg, Trustee Kellogg, for taken over from me last meeting. I had to rush out of here a little early to go to the nursing graduation. And I just want to thank you, Jeff, for your leadership in conducting that meeting. This meeting will be adjourned to tomorrow, when we will reconvene on January 23rd, 2013 at the Liberal Arts Campus, Building T, room 1100, right here at 5 p.m. Point of order, Madam Secretary, is this a adjournment or a recess? We will reconvene tomorrow. Okay, thank you. See you mañana.